Good morning. I'm Mike Bovington, pastor of the Lutheran Church of the Good Shepherd in Douglasville, Georgia. Welcome to our Wednesday devotions as we talk about hymns and their meanings, their stories, and the gifts that they really are to us. I want your suggestions. I'll put my email in the description on YouTube so you can email me your suggestions for hymns, the hymns that you just love, that you just like for us to talk about. Or you can make comments on Facebook and let me know what you'd like to hear. I could use your help, please. So please do that. This morning, let me give you a little bit of a heads up. I grew up in East Point, Georgia, and I was underneath the runways for the Atlanta airport. Well, it seems like in Douglasville this morning, we're also on a pathway for whatever runway they're using. So there may be some jets that come over, but I think we'll be able to overcome that together. This morning we're going to talk about an Easter hymn, Christ is Alive, Let Christians Sing. It's one of my favorites. I love the tune, I love the words, I love the sentiment, I love what it calls me to hear in the Word of God. The tune itself is called Truro. We know absolutely nothing about it. It's truly anonymous. It first showed up in 1789 in the Psalmodia Evangelica. That's it. That's all we know. It's been used for other tunes, but that's all we know. Let's get the tune in our head a little bit. Christ is alive. Let Christians sing. The cross stands empty to the sky. Let streets and homes with praises ring. Love, drowned in death, shall never die. The hymn was written by Brian Wren. Brian Wren was born in 1936 in England. He served in the British Army for a couple of years in the mid-50s. He got a BA in Modern Language from Oxford University and later a Doctor of Philosophy and Old Testament from Oxford University, and was ordained in the Reformed Church around 1965, and he served in a number of different capacities in that. But even from 2000 to 2007, he was the Conant Professor of Worship at Columbia Theological Seminary here in Atlanta and Decatur Presbyterian Seminary. So we have some connection with him. He wrote numerous hymns, and he wrote this about hymns, which I think is beautiful. A hymn is a poem, and a poem is a visual art form. The art of reading a hymn aloud helps to recover its poetry and its power to move us, the power of language, image, metaphor, and faith expression. In some of his later hymns, he became extremely intent on inclusive language of women, inclusive language of oppressed and subordinate groups. Now, that's not being politically correct. That's giving us a vision of God that's bigger than the labels we want to put on God and the fences we want to put around God. And it's seeing God as something bigger and something more important. Christ is Alive was written in April of 1968 for Easter. April 1968. It was written for Easter, 2 weeks after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He wrote this, Wren wrote this: I could not let Easter go by without speaking of this tragic event that was on all our minds. The hymn tries to see God's love winning over tragedy and suffering in the world. There is tension and tragedy in these words. not just Easter rejoicing. And I'm reminded when this hymn comes, he wrote it after the assassination of Dr. King. This hymn reminds us that somehow, light in the darkness, and the light shines, the light of Easter. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness cannot overcome it. That God is greater than our fears. God is greater than our pain. God is greater than a tragedy in this world. And that when Jesus rose from the dead, he rose to life, this life, to bring us light, hope, peace, and presence. So let's hear the words. Christ is alive. Now, we say that, and we say that every Easter, and we say that every day, hopefully. But think of the shock it was for those that found the empty tomb, that met Christ after he had died. Christ is alive! Exclamation mark. Let Christians sing. How can we not sing if the Eternal One is alive? The cross stands empty to the sky. It didn't win, folks. It didn't win. Let streets and homes with praises ring. Streets and homes, not just our churches. Our streets and our homes with praises ring. Love, listen to this poetry. Love drowned in death can never die. Christ is alive, no longer bound to distant years in Palestine. He's not stuck where he was, but saving, healing, here and now, and touching every place and time. Lo, I am with you always, even until the end of the age. In every insult, rift, and war, where color, scorn, or wealth divide, Christ suffers still. Christ suffers still. Yet loves the more and lives where even hope has died. Listen to that. Think about those dark days after the assassination of Dr. King. Hear that verse again. And think about the dark days that so many of our people feel today. Listen. In every insult, rift, and war, where color, scorn, or wealth divide, Christ suffers still, yet loves them more, and lives where even hope has died. Oh. Women and men, in age and youth, can feel the Spirit and hear the call, and find the way, the life, the truth, revealed in Jesus, freed for all. We can still do this, folks. We can still do this. Christ is alive and comes to bring good news to this and every age, till earth and sky and ocean ring with joy and justice, love and praise. Christ is alive, wrapping Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in his arms, wrapping you in his arms. Christ is alive, where even hope has died. May you know that peace, may you know that comfort, and may you know that joy. Sing this hymn, hum this hymn, go read this hymn. In our worship book is hymn 389, but Christ is alive is in all of them. And reflect on those words from April 1968. We thank you, Pastor Red, and I thank you for listening. May God bless you on this day, and may the joy of his grace and his gospel wrap you in his arms.